we're really excited to be back in the building. Obviously, it's just great to be out there with the players and be involved. But I can tell you this, and you probably sensed it too, we really miss the fans. It's made a big difference not having them out there with us, and just really strange, and miss our fans so much. I'm sure the players do too. So that's been something that has been very different. We have done everything we can to make sure that our players are safe. We've put in all the COVID protocols that the Players Association and the NFL plan approved, and which has been outstanding. Our team and our facilities people have done an amazing job with our building. It has been completely transformed to make sure that our players are socially distanced and can be in a safe space. And of course, they always have their mask on, everybody in the building, unless they're playing on the field. So big shout out to Joe Sheehan and Dr. Voos and University Hospitals for helping us be successful with this plan. Feel really good about it. I think the players feel very safe. Created a really good environment to be successful.
Yeah, I'd just add, it's good to see you all, although at a distance, on Friday and today. It is eerily quiet out there, as you all observed, and Dee's right, we missed the fans. Normally we'd have had 3,000 or 4,000 people out there today, and I think players, coaches, I can't speak for you all, but certainly ownership, miss having our great fans out there and giving them the opportunity to see our guys up close. I would echo what Dee said. I think our staff at the Browns, but I think really shout out to the NFL, the Players Association, which of course JC is heading up. They've done a tremendous job of putting what I would say is the best possible protocol to keep everybody safe and healthy out there. Obviously really pleased with the job Andrew did in the offseason in terms of the free agency added in the draft. It's good to meet and see those guys up close. And I think Kevin's put together a tremendous staff and is off to a good start, although I think we all understand we've got a long way to go, and we've just had 2 real practices so far, going pads Monday, so we'll learn more there. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
You talked about the fans not being at camp. I know things are still very fluid, but has anything been finalized in terms of fans at First Energy Stadium for the season?
Yeah, there's been a task force of Ohio State, the pro baseball, I don't know if pro basketball is involved, pro football. They've been working closely with the governor's office for the last 8 to 10 weeks. We've also been working closely with the city of Cleveland. I think both of those have gone well. We have put a lot of time, effort, and resources into ensuring that if we did have, quote, 20% fans, it could be a safe experience, and we feel good about that opportunity. Obviously, the final decision is up to the governor, but we're ready and excited to go, and I think the city of Cleveland feels the same way.
Yeah, we put in just as much time into the facility, the energy we put in there. We've also put that energy into, no pun intended, in making sure that First Energy Stadium is as safe as it can be, or all the safety protocols in place.
So we're about a month away from that opener. Is there a hard date, though, that you have in mind or that you have to hit in terms of making a decision on that? Or is it still just kind of an hourly thing like everything else?
Yeah, listen, I think in the world we live in, and we're big planners, but that's not realistic today. So we have a great plan in place. It'll be up to the governor of the state of Ohio to bless or not bless that. We've actually taken them through that, and we'll just have to see how that goes. I wouldn't want to speculate that it needs to be a week or 2 weeks ahead of time. And I think you'll hear us say this a lot today. Everybody's got to remain fluid and flexible in everything we do. And I think we've all learned to do that over the last 4 or 5 months.
Several of your players already, including Baker, have said they're going to be kneeling during the national anthem this season. You know, about NBA players that have been kneeling out in Orlando, the president has called it disgraceful. What say the two of you about that?
Hey, Jake, I would say this. One of the great things about this country, one of the many great things, is the ability to have freedom of speech and be able to express yourself. So we're going to support our players. At the same time, I think that all too much attention is called to whether somebody kneels or stands or what their statement is, and not nearly enough attention is called, Jake, to what they do afterwards. And so Dee and I can issue some great statement, but what you all really ought to look at is what ourselves, our coaches, our players are doing the rest of the week, if you will, to make this country a better place to live, work, and raise a family.
I know that some of your players, and I'm sure you guys do too, receive some backlash from fans, from season ticket holders. And so I guess my question is, with Baker saying he's absolutely going to kneel and things like that, are you guys, I mean, if they choose to do that as a team, which I think they might be deciding to do that as a team, are you fully in support of that this year, and you're just prepared to sort of deal with whatever fallout may come from fans?
Yeah, we are. And I think one of the unfortunate things in the country today is that there's not enough thoughtful dialogue like, Baker, tell me why you think it is important. Or if so-and-so is not kneeling, tell me why you're not kneeling. And there's just all this condemnation from one side versus the other, rather than everybody trying to understand, well, why is that important to you, Baker? You're a thoughtful young man. You understand the ramifications. And so we're going to be fully supportive of our players no matter what they decide to do. And we would just ask that as a country, we have a lot more thoughtful dialogue. Dee, I don't know if you want to add anything there or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it really, really perfectly, is listening to each other and learning from each other. I mean, I know Andrew Berry launched the Be the Solution campaign, and the biggest part of that was listen to each other. It's instead of just throwing somebody under the bus for not wanting to believe the way you want to. That's what makes our country great, is we can be different and we can have different beliefs, but be respectful about that. And somewhere along the line, we've completely lost that respect, and just civil discourse, it's gone. And hopefully, we can get that back, and maybe we can be an example of that.
How difficult has the last 4 to 5 months been for you guys, not only personally, but as an organization, having to retrofit the facility on the fly, deal with the uncertainty of whether or not you can even have a season? You've got whether or not you can have fans in the stands. And how confident are you that this season is going to be able to be played safely and to a completion?
You all right, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think the COVID has been hard on everyone. There's not anyone that hasn't had to work almost harder than you've ever worked before. And it's taken a lot of energy to kind of maneuver through this. So our organization is not any different from what you guys have had to live through this. I mean, it has been something we've never experienced before. So I don't think what we're doing is unique. I think what we are doing is unique, and then our protocols are just so scrutinized, and we're so careful, and it's so important that each one of our players take the responsibility to stay safe, because it's all about team and how we keep the entire team safe and together. So I think it goes back to a lot of individual responsibility. I mean, the individual responsibility in this country and for our fans to stay safe is, wear a mask, social distance. I mean, it's everyone's responsibility. So we do feel a lot of pressure, but we also, need everybody else to help out, or we can't do it.
Yeah, I would say, it's well said. I would say this, that we all know somebody who's been affected by COVID-19, right? And whether you know somebody who's sick or who's died, I know we've had 2 people at Pilot die, and that's gut-wrenching, okay? And whether it's that, whether it's businesses that have gone out of business, whether it's kids that can't play youth sports, kids that can't, go to school, we're all have been impacted. At the same time, I think we've all learned that maybe how we did things all along, there were some things we could do different or better. And I know we've learned to do things more efficiently, I think, in all our organizations. And hats off to Andrew and Kevin with how quickly they've adapted. I mean, if you think about it, we left our building on March 12th, and we had our draft. And hey, everything worked great. And there were about 10 or 15 of us on the phone virtually. And who knows whether it's going to be a great draft or not, but we will not use COVID-19 because it wasn't. And Kevin's done a magnificent job in leading these virtual calls and having guys organized and watching guys work out virtually. And here again, it's not perfect, but you learn and adapt, and all 32 teams are having to do the same thing. So we don't have an advantage over Baltimore. Pittsburgh doesn't have an advantage over us at the same. So it's not been fun. It has been challenging, but we're excited now to be on the field. None of us know if there's going to be a full season, but we're going to do everything we can to get a season in, but do so in a safe manner.
I wanted to ask you about Baker Mayfield and what you've seen from him this offseason as he tries to bounce back. Obviously, Kevin and Andrew have talked a lot about it, but what have you observed about Baker, and how do you expect him to, kind of go moving forward here as he tries to rebound?
Well, you all have had the opportunity to talk to Baker live and to Kevin, and I think you see physically he came back in great shape. We haven't known him long enough to say it's the best shape of his life. He came back in great shape. I think he's taken a really good leadership role, and we appreciate what he said. I think it was yesterday about owning up to, hey, last year he wasn't himself, but I think he's going to put that behind him, and we're really excited. He had a really good practice today. We're really excited to see what he can do, both in terms of being the quarterback, but also being one of the leaders of the team.
We'll go back to Mary Kay Cabot for our next question.
Along those same lines, it seems like Odell has sort of settled into being here. Jarvis talked about how he thinks he feels like more at home now. What differences are you noticing in Odell, and do you feel like he really is part of the family now and is all in?
I'll let Dee address that.
Yeah,
She and Odell are close.
I had a great conversation with him today. Excited to be back in his house, and that's made a big difference to him. We did an exercise with the team last night. Friday night, yeah. The 4-H's, which is your history, heartbreak, heroes, and hopes. And Adele had texted me and told me that he really had related to a lot of stuff, and we had a great conversation about that. And I just feel like he's just so much more comfortable here, and he said that. He says, I'm in my home, I'm more comfortable. I think it was a transition, but I think he's doing really well, and love the fact that he's, talking about how happy he is to be here and how comfortable he is. I think it's a great improvement. So we're really excited that he feels that way.
And he's healthy too.
Yeah,
knock on wood. So he's healthy.
I think that's made a big difference too, is he's healthy this year and feels confident.
Hey guys, everybody's kind of taken an economic hit here, and downtown Cleveland has been hit particularly hard with a lot of restaurants closing, businesses working downtown. If there's not Browns football on Sundays, it's going to be even tougher.
Yeah.
As civic leaders, is there anything more that you guys have talked to anybody about trying to do to try to pump things up a little bit, or whatever you can do?
Well, I think we'll go back to what we said, and you chime in here. I mean, listen, we all understand that health and safety comes first, but I just think as a country, as a state, as a city, and we say the same things back in Tennessee, and this is what we're trying to do in the NFL. And as I said, none of us know if this is going to work, but we're going to give it our best try and do so in a safe manner. We need to have hey, how can we make this work? Is there a way to make this work? And we get it that not having 65,000 people down there 8 games is a major blow to a lot of people that work at the stadium and all the businesses around there. I mean, Dee and I had dinner with another couple last night in his offices downtown. He just talked about how there's nobody down there. So the sooner we can safely get people back to work, the better off we're going to do. We're going to do everything we can with the Browns, and would encourage other businesses to do the same. At the same time, at the end of the day, it's not our call about how many fans we have in the stands on Sunday, or if we have fans in the stands. We want it to happen for our players and for those fans.
Yeah, and I would just add that I do think there's a lot of community leaders out there that understand that businesses downtown especially have to come back and get open. obviously with all the safety protocols in place with plexiglass and mask. And I know that makes it harder to come back, but downtown is taking a significant blow, and every business that can get back and open safely would be really important to the future of downtown.
Before all this hit, you guys were working on so many things, not only from a community relations standpoint, but you're building a stadium in Columbus for the Crew. You're still trying to figure out your situation here in Cleveland with the stadium. You're constantly updating the facility in Berea. I'm just kind of curious where some of those items stand with everything that has happened in the last 4 months, and just how, whether or not that's been impacted some of your plans.
Well, Jimmy took a tour of the stadium last week, so I'll let him speak about the Columbus.
Yeah, thankfully outside construction work has been able to go on. So our Crew Stadium in the Nationwide District of Columbus is on schedule. It'll open in June. We'll play our first game there in early July, and steel's starting to come out of the ground. So that's actually really exciting. You can go online and look at it. So we're really excited about that. We continue to make improvements at Berea to make it a better place, first of all, for our players and everybody who works there, but over a better time for our staff and our fans. And we're continuing to accumulate property there that will give us flexibility going forward to have all kinds of different options. It would be inappropriate to comment on that, and I'll let Dee comment on the stadium and what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're continually making improvements to Berea, and we'll continue to do that. And the downtown area and the downtown stadium is so important for the city of Columbus. So we have some time there to think through that. And right now during COVID, I think everything's been kind of put on hold, and there's just not a lot of conversation. There's nobody really to talk about. Right now what we're talking about is how we get fans in the stadium and how we open downtown, and that's our focus right now.
Hey guys, given all the difficulties of the offseason, do you have to temper your expectations for this team on the field? And do you think fans should?
Well, we've learned we have the world's greatest fans, okay? And I don't know that they will temper their expectations. And I think mainly, I'm sure you all are the same way, because most of your friends and associates know what you do for a living. And I imagine you get the question every day, Scott, are they going to play, right? And that's the same question Dee and I get. So let's hope we play, number one. I think we probably, all of us, including ownership, learned a lesson last year about tempering expectations. And I don't think we managed that as well as we should have. And I think you got to be realistic. I mean, this team hasn't been to the playoffs since, is it 07, Mary Kay? You would know that better than I would.
Yeah.
Since 07. 02, I'm sorry. And we're in a tough division. I mean, Baltimore and Pittsburgh are arguably two of the best teams and best franchises. So I think you have to be realistic there. We're still a young team. On the other hand, we feel really good about, as we said, Andrew and Kevin, our coaching staff, our personnel group, and the talent that we've been able to assemble. So we're excited going into the year, but realistic.
Hey guys, Andrew Berry's talked about why he was comfortable giving Myles Garrett a historic contract extension, given the way the season ended for Myles last year. I was just wondering, what's your take on paying Myles this year as he's coming off suspension, and your level of comfort that he's going to be, everything that you guys want him to be as you invest in him at that level?
Yeah, well, we spent a lot of time talking about Myles and his situation, a lot of time, because that's a huge contract. But I think most of you all know Myles, and Myles did something that was unbelievably out of character, unfortunately. And he paid for it dearly, and we paid for it dearly. But we know him and his family well. We know the kind of person, the kind of man he is. And at the same time, we know the kind of player. So we spent a lot of time thinking about it. But we're excited that he's going to be a Cleveland Brown for a long, long time. And I think he'll be back on the field in a few days. And it'll be good to have 95 out there, because he makes a hell of a difference when he's out there.
We've talked a lot over the years, since you guys took ownership, of trying to get, the right alignment and the right people in place. And many, many times before, you guys kind of thought you hit upon it. and it really wasn't what you wanted it to be. This time around, I think alignment was the buzzword of the offseason, and I really think that you guys worked very, very hard to make sure that your building was all pulling in the same direction. And I'm just wondering now, it seems like you may have achieved that for real. And what does it then feel like to have everyone working together instead of some of the stuff that has gone on in the past?
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun. And listen, I think you have, and Paul DePodesta goes in that group too. I think you have three really smart, really capable individuals, low ego, who just want to win and want to do it in the right way. And it was, I'm reiterating what I said earlier, it was amazing for us to watch the whole draft process. And like I said, time will tell in 3, 4, or 5 years how well we did, but how well everybody worked together. So we're excited about it. We haven't played any games yet, but we're excited about the group we put together, and hopefully they'll be here for a long time.
Yeah, and it's been particularly important during this COVID season. They've worked extremely well together to maneuver all the differences we've had to do this season.
Yeah, guys, you were talking about tempering expectations last year, but you guys did seem optimistic about the direction of the franchise. This time last year when we were talking, you obviously made a lot of changes after last season. How confident and optimistic are you that this time around, given the alignment and everything else, the players you have, the franchise is ready to turn that corner, become a winning football team?
You want to go first?
We're, as I started out, we're really excited. I mean, we feel like, we've talked about alignment among our leadership group, that we feel really excited about the players that we have on board. And I think Jimmy said it earlier, we still have a young team. We have a lot to do, and we're in a really tough division, but we're really excited about this year.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we talk at our business about RP, right people in the right place, and we think it's been a long, hard road, but we really think we have that in coaching personnel, Paul with his strategic role, and in players, whether it be Baker or whomever it might have. We think we've got the right people in the right place. It's never perfect in the NFL, and things happen, but we're really excited to see what this team can do this year. I think in closing, and I think this is live, and hopefully we have a reasonable number of our fans watching, but the last thing we would say is, and we actually mean this really seriously, is how important it is for everybody to wear a mask all the time. And I mean that. And we're obviously not wearing them now because they are in our homes sitting beside each other, but you all see us wear them at practice. I still go visit stores once a week. Dee's out in public a lot, and we wear a mask. And none of us want to shut the country down again. And there's 3 things we can do that'll make a difference. 1, wear a mask. 2, socially distant. 3, wash your hands. And if everybody will do that, we have a chance of having an NFL season, a high school season, all the other things we all want to see happen. But if we're not smart about it, then it won't happen. So please, please wear your mask. It's no fun. We get it, but please wear your mask.